Hello and welcome to Guitarist Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.guitarist.com. My name is Jason J. Rockhuse. I'm speaking to my good friend Drew Fortier. Drew, I'd like to let everybody know you and I've had a fun little experience here. This was supposed to be a Zoom interview today. We're going to start doing that, but of course on the day we're doing it we're having technical issues. So you and I are going to try to do it again, but I don't want to waste any of your time. So we're going to do a traditional interview like people typically go to our site and listen to, and I will be doing a Zoom with you down the line. But what we're talking about today is you got a great new band, the Lucid. So let's talk a little bit about that. How long has the band been together? And I always love to ask, if you could share the story behind the band's name.
Yeah, sure. It's been around since about early 2020, around like March or April.
And how did the band first get together?
That's kind of it. All started with a piece of music me and Mike Keller, the drummer, had left over from a previous project, and we always loved it. And we were like, oh, we should do something with it. So at that time, I was writing a fiction novel with David Ellefson called Rockstar Hitman, and I was doing all kinds of stuff with him. We did that horror movie Dwellers and all that, and then I was like, hey, Dave, want to throw down bass on this? I was like, yeah, sure. And then it sounded really cool. And then we were like, so who are we going to get to sing on it? Yeah. And then, and for some reason, the first name that popped in my head was Vinny from Sponge.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, does anybody know him? Like, nope. I was like, neither do I. So I just sent his website an email with the track. And then after I hit send, I was like, oh, now I know why I wanted Vinny, because the song sounds a lot like a Sponge song, the song Wax Static.
Maybe that's why the sound of the band is so fresh and original. I mean, I think naturally a lot of people hear that you and David Ellefson are working together. That's kind of, okay, that's not such a big, a huge leap, but, and that tells us who the singers. How about the drummer you guys got?
Oh, yeah, Mike Heller from Raven and Fear Factory.
Oh,
and all
wow,
that.
wow. So this is a little super group you have here. And so obviously you're involved with a lot of writing, Drew. So has Ellefson been involved with this from day one?
I mean, pretty much. As far as bringing in ideas, like the first album was just all these guitar demos I had that me and Mike kind of worked on.
Yeah.
And then everybody kind of wrote to those. But this new one, though, the song Saddle Up and Ride was actually a cell phone demo.
Oh, wow.
David Ellefson sent to us.
Talk about technology, right? I mean,
exactly.
I mean,
he was just him.
You know from your own career, I mean, bands used to go in the studio and, it'd be quite an expensive thing just to, record in a professional studio like that. And to think that you can record an album now on your cell phone, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's funny too because we've still never played a note of music together.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to bands where they live in different parts of the world and they record albums that way. It's pretty amazing,
Oh yeah, totally, and we're all spread around too because Mike, the drummer, he's in LA. Yeah. David's in Arizona, and the singer's in the Detroit, and I'm in Indianapolis.
And I understand that for the new album, which, as you said, is called Saddle Up and Ride, you guys are already taking pre-orders. How's that going?
Oh, it's going good. It's going good. I just got done signing all the signed CDs.
And you want to let people know where they can, do the pre-orders and that? What's the best place?
Oh, yeah. LucidOfficial.com. That's where to do it. There's not going to be many of them, even as far as like physical CDs.
It's going to be like limited run, so that makes it a real collector's edition, huh?
Oh, totally, yeah. It's going to be really, really special. And they came out really cool, too. I'll grab one. Oh, wait, no, this is just audio, so you can't see
that's fine, but yeah, maybe next time, yeah. I tell you, that's how things always go. But talk a little bit about the band name, Lucid. I mean, that's kind of a cool name, and people are, like, I know when I hear it, like, what is that?
Oh, yeah. Originally, it was just going to be just Lucid instead of Lucid, and then there was like a trademark thing. Somebody else owned the trademark for Lucid. Wow. Then we were going to be called. Then we were going to call ourselves Spoilerhead after one of our songs.
Now, Lucid, did that mean anything, or just kind of a name you guys come up?
That's something that Dave was reading as the devotional one day, and he was like, "How about Lucid?" Wow. And we're like, "That sounds cool." Yeah, and then the trademark thing happened. And how about let's just put the in front of it and go Lucid, and it worked out well.
And would you say, like, over the last year, this has turned into much more of a more been like something that was maybe originally a side project that's turning in kind of the main thing for everybody?
We didn't have any expectations with it whatsoever. Then it was just a very interesting group of people, and we love the songs. And it's like anything from there. It's like it's out, up to the fates to live on. However it lives on. If people like it, cool. If they don't, that's cool too.
So
we're just happy.
When you write these songs, Drew, I was curious. Does a lot of this stuff typically start off with like guitar riff?
Oh yeah, it's all about 90% of the time. It's all just like a fully structured guitar demo from front to back, and then I run it through Mike, who also produces everything, and then if he has any ideas as far as like structure or anything like that, but usually it's pretty spot on. But actually, I demo the guitar part fully structured like a song, so it's just a guitar. Then I send it to Vin, and then from there, if Vin takes to it, then we'll work on it more. Then Michael add drums and all that. But yeah, we got all kinds of ideas that haven't seen the light of day yet.
Oh, that's amazing. And I was curious, like, did you know right away that it wasn't going to be a 2-guitar band, or talk a little bit about that, and what's the difference for you?
It's the less people involved, the better. Is the way I go. Because before that, I had this thing that had 6 people in it, and it just didn't work, and it just didn't work to the point where it just didn't work. But I was like, let's just keep it as little people as humanly possible. So when we do shows, it's just it's one less person got to worry about as far as like a hotel.
In fact, the last time I talked to you, we were talking about the Bang Tango movie that you directed and that had just came out. I was curious, are you still is Bang Tango kind of still an active project? Are you still involved with that?
I still talk to all those guys, and I love them very much. And right now, Bang Tango is because they were reunited, the original members a couple years ago. Then the pandemic happened, and then they broke up again. But now it's Joe Liste and Kyle.
Okay,
the original 2 guys are still around.
I wanted to ask you how your health is, because I know a while ago you were battling cancer, I think I was reading you're cancer-free. Is that true?
Yeah, I just had my checkup about a week ago, and they scanned me and checked my blood, my tumor markers and everything, and everything is all good.
We're glad to hear that.
That was frightening, and that. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody.
Oh yeah, I mean, you hear something like that, especially a guy your age, and you think, you don't know what to think, and then kind of when you're told, okay, it's cancer free, and what are the chances it may or may not come back? The doctors think they got it all.
Yeah, because it was testicular cancer. The next place it would go would be like in my abdomen, and so they've been doing scans from the neck down, and there's nothing in there, and they just had to remove the right one, and I feel exactly the same like I did before.
Oh, that's great. I mean, I'm glad you're doing so well, and then and that's great news too. You have a new band, the Lucid, and everything seems to be going good for the band, and it's glad that you're healthy and everything, because I mean, could you think if you weren't, but it went the other way, so thank God that.
And it's funny too, because we were supposed to do that tour back in May, but we had to cancel it because of the cancer, and we were going to put out this EP back in May as well, as a surprise thing for the tour. So everything's kind of picking back up good, and I love. And Violent J has 2 songs.
How did you hook up with Violent J? Was it a matter of just reaching out to him? And
that was actually Vinny, the singer, as good friends with them. They're both from Detroit, and Vinny's always been in with the ICP guys, and ICP's always been fans of Vinny from Sponge.
And you said, Sponge and you and David Ellison, those aren't probably bands you'd immediately think that could get together, and I think that's why the sound of the band is so unique. It's so different.
Thanks, man.
I mean, like I was listening to I love the title track, "Saddle Up and Ride." To me, the cool thing about these singles you've been releasing is every song kind of sounds a little different. I mean, like "Saddle Up and Ride" to me. I mean, you guys still got like a fresh original sound to me, but it's kind of got a Sabbathy vibe. And then the one you just, I think, came out the other day, Risk.
Risk Machine?
Risk Machine. That sounds a little different. I mean, it's I don't know if I can say it's quite hard rock, but it's something, and it kind of just all fits together.
Every single song on the EP is completely different from another, but it all kind of gels together too. Like the first track is called Deep Country. Yeah. It's not out yet, but it's a straight up country song.
Yeah,
and it leads into.
And I think like you listen to like the Riff Machine, and then maybe people get a certain idea. This is something different, and then they listen up to the title track and. Oh wow! This is the same band. But
yeah, right? Yeah. That's what I love about it. Is that there's no rules, and especially with Violent J.
Prepping for the interview today, I was going on your YouTube page, and I was reading some of the comments, and people are just saying how not only they love the band, but oh man, this is exciting. This is fresh. This is something. Maybe this is the next super group.
It's been everybody's been really. Really kind with how they've been taken to it and everything, and it's just I love it though because it's so odd and not expected, especially with Violent J, and we're going to be doing a lot more with him too, and because it's like the thing with the Lucid, it's like it's only worth sort of doing it as long as like we could continue to take left turns.
And so is that, like you said, you may do more with Violent J, and I think people will be excited to hear that. But is it the kind of thing where you think, you go and record another song maybe, and we'll bring in another singer. We'll maybe this guy will do. Maybe he'd be good for this track. Is that kind of thing you're thinking about future-wise?
Maybe we're just kind of taking a look around and all that. Yeah. As it stands right now, it's looking like we might be doing a full album with Violent J.
Oh wow!
So that'd be very, very, very interesting for sure.
So would the other singer Vinny be involved as well, or
absolutely. Oh yeah, Vinny's always the forefront, always the main guy.
See, and I've always dug bands like one of my all-time favorite bands is Kiss. Quite different from what you guys do, but what I used to love about Kiss is you had more than one guy that sang in the band. It kept it really fun as opposed to maybe having one guy that did all the singing.
Oh, totally. Yeah. It's you never know. Violent J might just end up being like the fifth guy.
Yeah. Who knows? And when you do a project like that too, like being that you're the guy that's involved with most of the writing. I mean, what's it like when you give your you give your singers the tracks and they do what they do to it? I mean, it's almost like, man, you brought my song to life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's nothing more exciting than getting an email from Vinny and then with a new odd song title like Maggot Wind or Spoiler Head. It's like, I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, and it's kind of thing too. I think that if you guys were to do a live show, that even though he may not sing on every track on the album, he's probably the type of singer that he'd be able to handle that live.
Oh yeah, Vinny's on every track. Yeah, he's always there.
Yeah, and so. What do you guys plan to tour live?
Maybe later on in the year. As it stands right now, it's like me and Vinny might be doing some acoustic shows.
Oh wow!
And so that'd be cool because a lot of these songs actually, when I initially had the idea, started off on acoustic, and then I recorded them as a demo with like electric and all that. But so you could boil down every single one of them, and it'll still make sense musically. And
I can see why you could do that. You would do that too because it's fun for people to go check that stuff out live. And I know when I go to a live concert, I mean, as they always say, if I want to listen to a record, I'll just stay home and play the record. But
exactly.
When you go to a live show, you want to be entertained. You want to get a little something different. I mean, I remember once seeing Kiss do an unplugged show, and that's not something you see every day, and that's kind of that's quite unique and different and fun. And I really loved thinking, wow, I got my money's worth. Something special.
Oh yeah. I love the acoustic version of Going Blind.
Oh yeah.
It's really cool.
A lot of those songs that a lot of fans had never heard that way before, and then it's like, and if you stop and think about that, a lot of times bands do write stuff acoustically, and that's how it starts off, and it turns into what it turns in. But when you do stuff like that, it's really, really cool. And then how hard is it when you do start off an acoustic and then you electrify it? Does it sound drastically different to you?
It's like the intention is there with the acoustic. Yeah. Like for sure, like even like a song like Mumps or something like that. It's I already know that it's once it translates into electric, it's just going to sound even bigger and all that. Yeah. It's kind of all has the intention already there for sure.
And as you were sharing with me earlier, you guys have put out 2 releases so far, and I know that's probably got a lot to do with the lockdowns and COVID. But in a way, it's been good for you because, I mean, when you do get out and you're ready to tour and you tell me you're already thinking about the next release, I mean, you're going to have a ton of material to have to start building up a set list.
Yeah, totally. Because I guess when we were going to do those shows back in May, we were just going to play the whole album and then maybe like a cover or two because that was all we had. And now we got some variety. It's starting to build up.
Now you got the Lucid. But let me ask you: were a lot of these songs that you had laying around for a couple of years and nothing to no place for it? And you thought, okay, this would be a cool project to do, or was a lot?
Absolutely.
And then how much of it have you run any sense like you guys gotten together?
There's one song on the first album called Parade to Spit. I had the acoustic demo since high school. It's that old.
Wow.
And the one song Hair was the first one we ever wrote together, I was talking about earlier. And there's a leftover piece of music from a different project, the one with 6 people in it. Yeah. And we'd never played a note of music together though. Still.
That's amazing. Day. I mean, and that's the most amazing thing when I hear something like that because I don't know when I was growing up. I mean, bands used to. That's just the way it was in the world back then. Bands would actually be in the studio. They'd be in the same room. I mean, a lot of those classic albums we grew up on were recorded that way. But now you hear people aren't even in the same part of the world, and they make music and they record it, and you would never really know otherwise. It sounds that good.
Yeah, exactly. And in this way, it's like we all the way we communicate with each other with the demos and all that. It's kind of if Benny's feeling it, he'll sing to it, and if not, he'll just go on to the next one. And there's no like hey, try this, hey, try that. It's just it's just kind of he just lets it speak to him, and then if something speaks to Ben, then we all jump on it. And
so a lot of this stuff, like you said, are old songs you had laying around. But when you guys go in to do the next one, you think the other guys will be as involved in the writing, or? Oh
yeah, totally. Like yeah, absolutely. And we still have about like a Dropbox full of like 40 ideas to pick and choose from. So I got the next couple releases already lined up.
And so, like, when do you, like, with this latest release that's coming out, Saddle Up and Ride, when do you get to the point that you know, okay, we got enough song service release? Is it just a matter of how the... It was
at this point, that's literally all we have so far as finished songs. Like, everything else is, like, kind of like in progress, so it's just, like, kind of... But by the point we were going to put it out back in May, it was like, okay, we got these 5 tunes. Okay, let's just call it an EP, put it out.
Now, have you and Elson ever met face to face, or?
Oh yeah, I met him many years. Done a lot of stuff together. A lot of conventions, a lot of all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And again, what's cool about having him involved is a lot of people might think, okay, David Elson is this, so it's going to sound kind of thrashy and. Like Megadeth, but it's I can honestly say it doesn't really sound anything like that. It's just, and what I dig about the Lucid is, again, if you listen to any of the tracks, they really stand out on their own. They're all kind of different. Typically a band will have said box, if you will, where, for example, Metallica, if you go back to the first 3 albums, they had a thing about the songs used to be a certain length. Back in the day, they never would have thought of doing a ballad, but then they did the Black album and everybody starts saying, oh, they sold out, they cut their hair, oh my God. But, bands do certain things to get on the radio. And I dig the fact that in regards to the Lucid, there really isn't a set box. It seems like it's the type of thing where when other guys want to bring in a song, okay, well, we'll try that. We'll see how it, goes over.
Oh, yeah. Like even with the song Mumps, we just put that out a couple weeks ago, and it starts off like a Black Sabbath Metallica song, then it turns into like almost like a Red Hot Chili Peppers kind of song. It's the first time Ellison's ever been heard playing like funk bass.
Yeah. Now, like the Mumps, what specifically is that about? If you don't mind, and reason like typically people, the Mumps. I wonder if they wrote a song about the Mumps. I'm sure it's not about that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a metaphor for sure. But that's the beautiful thing, because we just let Vin be unleashed. We just let him write whatever you want, and even if we may never understand it, it's as long as it's from his heart, that's all we care about. So, Mumps, it's really whatever anybody
whatever
hears.
You want it to be, right?
And, whatever you want it to be, for sure.
And see, that's a cool thing about a song like that. It kind of gets people thinking, and I could see where maybe just the vibe of the song is kind of mumpy, it's kind of swampy, it's kind of, again, whatever you want it to be.
Totally. Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so, do you have a home studio where you work, Drew? And
yeah, I just plug right into the laptop, and all the stuff. All my guitar tracks are all DI tracks, and then we just send them to our mixer engineer in Germany. His name's Lessa Lemert, and he's amazing. And then he reamps it, and then that's what years. So I never stepped foot into an actual studio or tried to get guitar tone or nothing.
In fact, you're quite a creative guy from what I know, because like I mentioned when we talked last time about the Bang Tango movie, I mean, initially you met the band kind of when they came to you to do that project, and you were one directing the film. You weren't even a band member. You became a band member from doing the film, which is kind of a cool way to get a gig. And then I knew before that you worked with the late great Chuck Mosley, and that's quite a bit different. I think the cool thing for me when I heard you were doing this, okay, well, he's been involved in some other cool projects in the past, but this is kind of his own thing, and that's got to be a great feeling for you to kind of being the guy that gets to call the shots as opposed to being told what to do,
Oh yeah. I mean, it's wonderful to be a part of something from the ground up, because for many years I was just the Bang Tango guy, and I didn't want to be the Bang Tango guy anymore.
Yeah. I mean, now that's
then I got into
kind of a badge on your resume now, which is a great. Yeah.
No, oh no, yeah. Now I'm just like, all right, now that I'm not the Bang Tango guy anymore, I love Bang Tango, and then I tried to take as many left turns as I could. I was working with Chuck, whom I miss very much, and then got into acting, and then I directed a couple things and all that. And
talk a little bit about the book. You mentioned that you'd done a book.
I did two of them actually. I did one. I did a memoir as a joke, and then I did the fiction novel with Ellefson called Rockstar Hitman.
And obviously the one about your memoir, the one about your life. That's kind of how hard was that to write? Because again,
it took 3 days.
Oh wow, okay. And I imagine the other book's much more harder, because it's much more about, again, being creative and coming up with a story.
The fiction one, Rockstar Hitman, that one took, I think altogether, bouncing around ideas with Ellison, maybe collectively about 2 weeks.
Wow.
And then, but just to write it, then I edited it, I formatted it, and got it all print ready and all that. And the only thing we didn't do in-house was the artwork, which actually is a picture of Vin for Sponge on the cover of Rockstar Hitman.
It all connects and comes together,
No, yeah, it does, because originally at the very, very beginning of it, the Lucid, that music was going to be a soundtrack for the book, but it kind of grew into its own thing, so we've kind of let it turn into what it wanted to turn into.
Yeah, that's Nikki Sixx had done something like that with one of his books, where he'd written like a song or something for every chapter. I think it was the Heroin Diaries thing he did. And
no, that's right. Then Nikki Sixx ended up ripping off Rockstar Hitman, because the Motley Crue just put out something called Declassified. Yeah. Same exact thing.
Yeah. And
as Rockstar Hitman.
Yeah, and in regards to the Bang Tango movie, I know another unique thing that you had done is back you put a movie out like that, and immediately go to DVD and sell. They're not really doing that anymore, but you told me one thing you had done, which is kind of unique, and got for people to just kind of get to see it, is putting it online on YouTube. Talk a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, it came down to song clearing issues, and with Universal, because Bang Tango was on MCA in the early '90s, and then Universal bought MCA, and then toward the end of when I was figuring out what to do and how to put it out, I got a lot of distribution offers, but I had to clear the songs first, and then it just became a nightmare trying to deal with Universal. So one day I woke up and I was like, this one's not me. And then I put it out for free.
And were you surprised at all by the response you got from people? Because again, people were talking about that movie, and I think it's kind of a blueprint if people want to do a documentary. That's the way you do it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's still, I love the fact that people kind of still stumble upon it to this day, and it's brutally honest, especially at that time, and it's kind of funny too how history sort of repeats itself, because the band reunited and they broke up again, pretty much. They broke up, and a lot
of bands are like that. I mean, even Motley Crue, I don't know what I totally believe about Mick Mars leaving the band, but he's got his health issues, but I think John 5, if anybody can replace him, he's a decent replacement,
I agree. I think he's supposed to. He's a safe bet.
Yeah. I mean, he's a great. If they ever want to do anything new, he's a great songwriter. He's worked with everybody from, Lynyrd Skynyrd and Rob Zombie, Manson, David Lee Roth. So he's one of those guys.
Yeah, totally.
And the Lucid, what I really dig about, like even talking about the artwork, I mean, some of the artwork I've seen on your website is just it's amazing. Like, is that stuff you've designed, or do you have somebody design it for you?
That's most of it is by an incredible artist named Alex Sarabia. He's based out of Mexico.
Oh, wow.
And he's done all the album covers. He did the single artwork for and the back of the cover, like all the artwork on the album. It's all him. And and he does amazing work. And he did the artwork for Saddle Up and Ride with the skull kind of screaming. That was Alex.
Oh, wow.
And then he does incredible work. He's wonderful. And he did the cover art for that other movie I directed, Dwellers, and which Allison produced that one too. That was a found footage horror movie made for $0.
And I know I don't know if you were involved with it or not, but I know he had put something out, or he was working on like a Nick Menza documentary.
Oh yeah, he's still working on that.
Okay, yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a Chuck Mosley documentary, was there not? Were you involved with that as well? Right
before Chuck passed, we that was going to be the next thing to do. He was working on a solo album, and then we're going to do the documentary, and then he passed, and then it was his loved ones were still okay with it, wanted to go move forward with it, but nobody got any closure. And it's still very sad to this day. It's been like 5 years, and even with
I'll tell you a funny story. I had a chance to interview him once, and it was a couple of years before he died, and the audio was a little off, but I was amazed at how many hits that one interview got. Just he was such a friendly, down to earth guy. Yeah,
he is. I miss him so much.
And how did you first hook up with him? You don't mind me asking?
That was through Tom Hazard, who used to work for David Ellison's record label and all that. And
EMP,
and Tom got me in touch with Doug Esper, who was Chuck's manager and percussionist. And Doug is also co-stars in Dwellers with me as well.
Okay.
And that kind of the movie Dwellers kind of all started in Chuck's house, and Chuck would have been in the movie too, no doubt. But and then we just got along incredibly well, and he still holds a very special place in my heart for sure. And
it's amazing guys like you get involved in these other film projects and stuff. I was interviewing the singer. I don't know if you've ever heard of the band Society One, Matt Zane. And
I was just looking him up, bro. We were doing this, and I was going to watch the trailer for this documentary.
Currently working on this thing called Shock Rock movie, and just talking about.
I was just looking that up.
And so. That's pretty amazing. And other thing I was going to ask you is, because of the Chuck Mosley documentary and the Bang Tango movie, has anybody else asked you to kind of do a film on them or anything like that?
I wouldn't do it. We even decided to not do the Chuck documentary.
Oh, okay. Too many years.
It's still just the closure. It just doesn't. It doesn't feel right. And so it's like a person like Chuck, he's just best just to live on just the way his memory is, and just because he touched a lot of people's hearts, and it's and he will continue to do so because that's his legacy. I'd never do another documentary for another band.
Okay, just too much goes into all that. Well, I think you got something with the Lucid. I mean, so when does the album drop, or the EP rather?
The digitally, January 27th, and then CD shortly thereafter. Then the vinyl will begin shipping around July.
Okay, well, I want to thank you, Drew, once again for taking time to talk to me today. I really enjoyed getting to know you a little better, and I apologize for the...
Chaotic Riff Magazine.